The stars glimmered against the darkness of space as the Xylorian vessel approached the blue planet. Commander Zekthal stood on the bridge, his tall, slender frame nearly twice the height of an average human. Like all Xylorians, his limbs were long and delicate, adapted to the low gravity of his homeworld Xylar. "Earth," he said, his voice carrying a musical quality. "Such a heavy world." His second-in-command, Ambassador Vexilor, nodded in agreement. "Their gravity is 3 times stronger than ours. It's a wonder they developed intelligence at all, living under such crushing conditions." The Galactic Coalition had been watching Earth for decades. Made up of 17 different species from across the Milky Way, the Coalition had strict rules about making contact with developing worlds. Earth had only recently qualified when humans began regular missions to their moon and established a permanent base there. "Prepare the diplomatic team," Zekthal ordered, "and make sure everyone is fitted with exoskeleton supports. We don't want any embarrassing collapses during the first meeting." Vexilor bowed slightly, careful not to overbalance. Even in the artificial gravity of the ship, set at Xylorian standards, he moved with practiced grace. "I've studied their languages and customs extensively. We'll make an appropriate impression." "Remember our primary objective," Zekthal said quietly. "Earth has resources we need. The Council wants them as a protected territory. Make them see the benefits of our guidance." Down on Earth, at the Armstrong Space Center in Houston, Dr. Alan Parker stared at the satellite images with a mixture of excitement and fear. The alien ship had appeared suddenly at the edge of the solar system 3 days ago. It had made no threatening moves, but its technology was clearly far beyond anything humans possessed. "They're coming here?" asked Lieutenant Kate Wilson, standing beside him. Her military uniform was crisp, but her expression showed strain from 3 days of high alert. "They've confirmed landing coordinates. Right here." Alan pointed to the large landing pad. "In about 4 hours. Kate checked her watch. "The President's representatives won't arrive for another 2 hours. Looks like we're the welcoming committee." Alan smiled nervously. At 42, he had spent his life studying the possibilities of alien life. Now that the moment had arrived, he felt strangely unprepared. Lucky us, news of the impending arrival had spread worldwide. Outside the Space Center, crowds gathered despite government requests to stay away. Military vehicles formed a perimeter, and fighter jets circled overhead, a precaution everyone knew would be useless if the visitors had hostile intentions. Inside the hastily prepared meeting room, Alan reviewed his notes one last time. "They call themselves Xylorians. They're the leading species in something called the Galactic Coalition." Kate nodded. "And they've given us exactly nothing about their intentions or why they've chosen now to visit." "First impressions matter," Alan said. "Let's try not to start an interstellar incident." The Xylorian ship descended through Earth's atmosphere with barely a sound, a marvel of technology that made human spacecraft look primitive by comparison. It was smooth and silver, shaped like a teardrop and easily the size of a cruise ship. It hovered momentarily over the landing pad before settling down with perfect precision. For several minutes, nothing happened. The gathered officials, scientists, and military personnel waited in tense silence. Then a seam appeared in the side of the ship, widening into a doorway from which a ramp extended. The aliens that emerged were breathtaking. Standing nearly 8 feet tall, they moved with a strange gliding motion. Their skin had a faint bluish tint, and their 4-fingered hands seemed delicate to the point of fragility. Most striking were their eyes, large, almond-shaped, and a deep violet color. Alan and Kate stepped forward as the designated representatives. 6 aliens approached, wearing what appeared to be mechanical frameworks around their lower bodies and torsos, the exoskeleton supports Zekthal had mentioned. "Welcome to Earth," Alan said clearly. "I am Dr. Alan Parker, scientist, and this is Lieutenant Kate Wilson of our military. We are honored by your visit." The foremost alien inclined his head slightly. "I am Ambassador Vexilor of the Xylorian Dominion, representing the Galactic Coalition. We come in peace and with purpose." His English was perfect, though his voice had an unusual musical quality, Alan wondered briefly how they had learned the language, then decided that was a question for later. "We have prepared a meeting room," Kate said, gesturing toward the building. "Our government representatives are on their way." "That will be acceptable," Vexilor replied. He took a step forward and visibly stiffened, his movements becoming less fluid. The other aliens showed similar signs of strain. Kate noticed immediately. "Is something wrong?" "Your gravity," one of the other aliens said. "It is challenging. Our supports help, but adaptation will take time." As they walked toward the building, Alan observed the aliens struggle. Despite their technological aids, Earth's pull clearly caused them discomfort. Their breathing seemed labored, and their movements became increasingly mechanical rather than graceful. Inside the meeting room, the aliens sat down with evident relief. Alan noted how they arranged themselves carefully, as if afraid of making sudden movements. "Your world is much heavier than ours," Vexilor explained, seeing Alan's concern. "On Xylar, your muscles would make you capable of great leaps and feats of strength." "I'd like to visit someday," Alan said politely. Vexilor's expression was unreadable, but his tone carried a hint of condescension. "Perhaps, though humans rarely leave protected territories." "Protected territories?" Kate asked sharply. "Yes." Vexilor's gaze shifted to her. "That is why we have come. Earth has reached a development stage where contact is permitted. The Coalition offers protection and guidance to developing worlds like yours." Alan felt a chill. "We don't consider ourselves in need of protection." Vexilor made a gesture that might have been dismissive. "All heavy worlders say this. It is the gravity that limits your perspective. Your bodies must work so hard just to stand that your civilizations develop slowly. The Coalition can help accelerate your progress." Before Kate could respond, the door opened and a group of government officials entered, led by the Secretary of State. The real negotiations were about to begin. Throughout the day, as discussions progressed, Alan noticed how the aliens' attitude remained consistent. They were polite but condescending, treating the humans like children who needed guidance. They spoke of advanced technologies they might share, medical breakthroughs, and faster-than-light travel, all while making it clear these would come at the price of Earth's independence. By evening, when the meeting adjourned, the proposal was formally presented. Earth could join the Galactic Coalition as a protected territory. The aliens would provide technological assistance and defense, while gaining exclusive rights to certain mining operations and resource extraction. "You have 1 month to consider our generous offer," Vexilor announced. "We will remain in orbit to await your answer." As the aliens departed, struggling once more with Earth's gravity despite their supports, Kate turned to Alan. "They think we're weak," she said quietly. "They look at us and see primitives." Alan nodded slowly. "They're judging us by their standards. They don't understand what living on Earth has made us capable of." "Then perhaps," Kate said, a determined gleam in her eye, "we should show them." 1 week after first contact, the Armstrong Space Center had become the center of global attention. The Xylorian ship remained in orbit, with smaller shuttlecraft making regular trips to the surface. A temporary alien embassy had been established, and diplomatic talks continued daily. Dr. Alan Parker sat across from Trilvex, a Xylorian scientist, in what had become their regular morning meeting. Unlike Ambassador Vexilor, Trilvex seemed genuinely curious about humans rather than merely condescending. "Your species developed in this gravity," Trilvex said, adjusting his exoskeleton support. "The aliens had improved their technology, but still moved awkwardly on Earth. It shapes everything about you, your muscles, bones, even your thinking." Alan nodded. "We've evolved to handle our environment, just as you evolved for yours." But such effort just to stand, Trilvex made a gesture that Alan had learned indicated wonder. "On my world, your muscles would let you jump 20 feet high. Maybe we should arrange some demonstrations," Alan suggested. "Show what humans can do in our natural environment." The alien scientist tilted his head. "That would be educational. Later that day, Alan found Lieutenant Kate Wilson in the gym that had been set up for the human staff. She was lifting weights, her face showing determination rather than strain. "I've been thinking," Alan said, watching as she completed her set. "The Xylorians keep judging us by their standards. They see how they struggle in our gravity and assume we must be struggling too." Kate put down the weights. "I've noticed. Yesterday, Ambassador Vexlor seemed shocked when I climbed stairs without pausing for breath." "What if we challenge them?" Alan suggested. "Not diplomatically, but physically. Show them what humans can do." Kate's eyes lit up. "Like a competition?" "Exactly. Tasks performed under Earth gravity, showing human capabilities. Maybe even some events in reduced gravity to demonstrate our adaptability." "I love it," Kate said. "But will they agree? Their pride seems easily wounded." Alan smiled. "That's exactly why they won't refuse. They can't admit we might outperform them." The next day, during the formal diplomatic session, Kate made the proposal. The room was divided, with human representatives on one side and Xylorians on the other. The aliens sat with careful dignity, their exoskeletons humming softly as they compensated for Earth's pull. "To foster greater understanding between our species," Kate said, standing tall, "we propose a series of friendly competitions, tasks that would demonstrate the physical capabilities of both humans and Xylorians under various conditions." Ambassador Vexelor's violet eyes narrowed slightly. "What kind of competitions?" "Simple tests of strength, endurance, agility, and adaptability," Kate replied. "Some under Earth's gravity, others in controlled environments with reduced gravity." The Xylorian ambassador conferred briefly with his team. Alan could see discomfort in their expressions. Finally, Vexelor turned back. "We did not come here for games," he said. "Not games," Kate clarified. "Cultural exchange. You've spoken often about how Earth's gravity limits us. We want to show you what it's made us capable of." There was a challenge in her voice that the alien couldn't miss. After a moment, Vexlor inclined his head. "Very well. A demonstration would be informative. We will participate." As the meeting continued, discussion turned to the details of the Coalition's offer. Alan only half listened, his attention caught by a document projected onto the wall, a list of Earth resources the Xylorians were interested in. Later, in his office, Alan researched each item on the list. Most were rare minerals, difficult to mine. When he cross-referenced their properties, a pattern emerged. These materials would be nearly impossible to extract on a low-gravity world. "They need us," he muttered. "These minerals would be too deep, or too unstable to mine on their planets." A knock at his door interrupted his thoughts. A young woman entered, Olivia Grant from the Geology Department. "Dr. Parker, I've been analyzing the soil samples the Xylorians requested." Alan gestured, for her to continue. "They're particularly interested in minerals found only under high-pressure conditions, the kind that form deep in Earth's crust under our gravity." "That fits with what I'm seeing," Alan said, showing her his screen. "This isn't just a diplomatic mission. They want resources they can't get at home." Olivia nodded. "And protected territory status would give them exclusive mining rights." The implications were clear. The Xylorians' offer wasn't charity, it was resource acquisition disguised as protection. Meanwhile, across the Space Center, Kate was organizing the competition. She had recruited Jack Nelson, a decathlon champion, and Diane Rivera, a rock climbing expert, to join the human team. "We need to demonstrate raw strength," Jack suggested as they planned, "but also endurance and adaptability." Diane nodded. "And problem solving. The aliens rely heavily on their technology. Let's see how they handle unexpected challenges." "We'll need to be careful," Kate cautioned. "This isn't about humiliating them. It's about earning their respect." The Xylorians took the challenge more seriously than expected. They brought in Krelvox, their military champion, a towering figure even by their standards. He moved with surprising grace despite Earth's gravity, thanks to an advanced exoskeleton that hummed with power. "You have made a mistake, Lieutenant," Krelvox told Kate during their first meeting. On our world, even your strongest would be helpless. Then it's good we're not on your world, Kate replied evenly. As preparations for the competition continued, Alan uncovered more about the Coalition's true intentions. Through casual conversations with Trilvex, he learned that protected territories rarely developed beyond serving the needs of the Coalition. Most heavy worlders are content with the arrangement, Trilvex explained. They focus on resource extraction while we handle space travel and technology. And governance? Alan asked. The Coalition Council makes all major decisions, of course, the alien replied, surprised by the question. Heavy worlders lack the perspective for interstellar politics. That evening, Alan shared his discoveries with Kate and the rest of the human team. This isn't just about proving our physical capabilities, it's about our independence. If we become a protected territory, we'll end up as their mining colony. Then we make sure they see us as equals, not resources, Kate said firmly. The competition is in 3 days. We're as ready as we'll ever be. What they didn't know was that Ambassador Vexilor had also discovered new information. In his quarters aboard the shuttle, he studied reports about human history. They fight constantly among themselves, he told Krelvox. Yet they've never destroyed their civilization. Such resilience is unexpected. They are still primitives, Krelvox insisted. Once they see our full capabilities, they will accept protection. Perhaps, Vexilor said, not entirely convinced, but do not underestimate them. There is something about these humans that troubles me. Some quality we have not yet identified. Their only quality is stubbornness, Krelvox said dismissively. As the day of the competition approached, both sides prepared in their own ways. The humans trained intensively, while the Xylorians adjusted their technology. Neither knew exactly what to expect, but both understood what was at stake. It wasn't just a contest of physical abilities, it was a test that would determine Earth's future. The day of the competition arrived with clear skies and mild weather. A special arena had been constructed next to the Armstrong Space Center, with viewing areas for both humans and Xylorians. News crews from around the world gathered to broadcast the event globally. Dr. Alan Parker stood near the entrance watching as spectators filed in. The past 2 days had been a whirlwind of preparation and last-minute adjustments. He spotted Lieutenant Kate Wilson warming up with the rest of the human team. Nervous? He asked, approaching them. Kate stretched her arms above her head. Excited. We've been underestimated our whole lives. Time to show them what Earth gravity produces. Jack Nelson nodded in agreement. His powerful build made him look like a classical statue come to life. I've been competing my whole life, but never with these stakes. Diane Rivera finished tying her shoes. I've climbed mountains in storms. This is just another challenge. Alan smiled at their confidence. Remember what we learned about their physiology. They tire quickly here, but their burst strength is impressive. Pace yourselves. Across the field, the Xylorian team made their entrance. Krelvox led them, his exoskeleton more elaborate than those of his teammates. Ambassador Vexilor watched from a special platform, along with other Coalition representatives, who had arrived overnight. The competition was designed to test different aspects of physical capability. There would be 5 events: a strength test, an endurance run, an obstacle course, a zero-gravity simulation, and finally, a complex problem-solving challenge involving both mental and physical skills. The announcer's voice boomed across the arena. Welcome to this historic competition between Earth and the Galactic Coalition. Our first event tests raw strength. The strength test involved lifting and carrying increasingly heavy objects across a short distance. Jack stepped forward for the humans, while Krelvox represented the Xylorians. At first, they were evenly matched. The alien's exoskeleton whirred, as it compensated for Earth's gravity, allowing him to lift weights that would have been impossible otherwise. But as the objects became heavier, the machine began to struggle. Jack, meanwhile, showed no signs of fatigue. His lifetime of training under Earth's pull had prepared him for exactly this kind of challenge. When Krelvox finally failed to lift a 500-pound block, Jack hoisted it easily and carried it across the line. The human spectators erupted in cheers. Even some of the alien observers seemed impressed, their musical language rising in pitch as they discussed the outcome. "First point to Earth," the announcer declared. The endurance test was next, a 5-mile run around the Space Center. Kate took this challenge, facing a slender Xylorian named Irinal. They began at an even pace, but by the first mile the alien was already laboring. Her exoskeleton provided support, but couldn't supply the stamina needed for extended exertion, under Earth's pull. Kate maintained a steady pace, neither sprinting nor slowing. By mile 3, Irinal was visibly struggling. At mile 4, her exoskeleton began to emit warning sounds as it approached its limits. She finished the race, but nearly 2 minutes after Kate crossed the line, barely standing. "Second point to Earth," the announcer called. The score didn't surprise Alan, who watched from the sidelines. What interested him more was the changing expression on Ambassador Vexlor's face. The initial condescension had given way to something else, concern, perhaps even respect. The third event favored the Xylorians. In a chamber with reduced gravity, both teams navigated a complex aerial obstacle course. Diane performed admirably for the humans, but the aliens' natural adaptation to lower gravity gave them a clear advantage. They moved with beautiful precision, almost dancing through the obstacles while Diane struggled to control her movements in the unfamiliar environment. "Point to the Galactic Coalition," the announcer declared. The fourth event took place in a zero-gravity chamber that simulated space conditions. Here again, the Xylorians demonstrated their superiority, completing the assigned tasks with elegant efficiency, while Jack fumbled in the weightless environment. "Second point to the Coalition. We are tied at 2 points each." The final challenge would decide everything. It took place in a specially constructed maze with varying gravity levels. Teammates had to communicate to navigate through, solve puzzles, and retrieve objects, all while adapting to constantly changing physical conditions. Kate and Alan represented Earth, while Krelvox and Trilvex competed for the Xylorians. The maze was designed so that neither team could see the other, but everyone could follow their progress on large screens. "Begin!" the announcer shouted. Kate and Alan entered the maze, immediately feeling the pull of Earth's normal gravity. They moved quickly, Alan solving the first puzzle, a mathematical sequence that unlocked a door, while Kate handled the physical aspects, climbing a wall to retrieve a key. The Xylorians took a different approach. Krelvox used brute force where possible, while Trilvex applied his scientific knowledge to the puzzles. They made good progress until reaching a section with higher than Earth gravity. "Gravity increasing to 1.5 times Earth normal," a computerized voice announced in their section. Krelvox's exoskeleton strained under the extra weight. Warning lights flashed across its surface. Trilvex moved even more slowly, each step clearly painful. "We must preserve the exoskeleton," Trilvex warned. "If it fails completely, we will be immobilized." In the human section, Kate and Alan also encountered changing conditions. Gravity decreasing to 0.5 Earth normal, the computer informed them. They immediately felt lighter, their movements becoming bouncy and less controlled. Kate adapted quickly, using her military training, but Alan struggled, pushing off too hard and colliding with walls. "Use short, controlled movements," Kate advised. "Imagine you're swimming, not walking." Alan followed her guidance, and soon they were making progress again. When the gravity shifted once more, this time to 0, they were prepared, using handholds, to pull themselves along. The Xylorians, meanwhile, had reached a critical puzzle. It required retrieving 3 objects from different gravity zones and assembling them in precise order. When Krelvox's exoskeleton finally failed under a 2G section, he was forced to crawl, his powerful arms dragging his body forward. On the screens, viewers watched both teams approach the final chamber from different directions. The humans had adapted to each change in gravity, adjusting their techniques rather than relying on technology. The Xylorians struggled without their usual advantages, their frustration visible. Kate and Alan reached the final door first, It required solving a puzzle while hanging upside down in fluctuating gravity. Working together, they completed it just moments before the Xylorians arrived at their entrance. Final point and victory to Earth, the announcer declared. The arena erupted in cheers. The human team gathered in the center, accepting congratulations from spectators. Even some Xylorians offered gestures that Alan recognized as signs of respect. Ambassador Vexlor approached, his movement still careful under Earth's gravity, but his posture straighter than before. You have proven yourselves adaptable, he said to Kate and Alan. Perhaps there is more to discuss regarding Earth's status in the coalition. Kate smiled. We look forward to those discussions, Ambassador. As equals. As the crowds dispersed, Alan realized something important had changed. The aliens were looking at humans differently, not with condescension, but with newfound curiosity. Earth's gravity, once seen as a handicap, had revealed itself as the crucible that forged humanity's greatest strength, adaptability. The real negotiations were about to begin. 2 days after the competition, Earth's leaders gathered at the United Nations in New York. Representatives from every nation sat in the Grand Assembly Hall, watching as Ambassador Vexlor addressed them from the podium. His exoskeleton had been modified yet again, allowing him to stand taller despite Earth's gravity. The Galactic Coalition recognizes the unique qualities demonstrated by humanity, Vexlor said, his musical voice carrying throughout the chamber. We wish to adjust our initial proposal. Dr. Alan Parker sat in the front row beside Lieutenant Kate Wilson. Both had been asked to attend as the faces of humanity's success. The past 48 hours had been filled with debriefings, interviews, and very little sleep. They're changing their approach, Alan whispered. The competition worked. Kate nodded, but remained cautious. Let's see what they're offering now. On the screen behind Vexlor, images appeared showing various planets and space stations. Instead of protected territory status, we propose full membership in the Coalition for Earth. A murmur ran through the assembly. This was unexpected. Full membership would mean equal standing with the other 17 species in the Coalition. There are, of course, conditions, Vexlor continued. We still require access to certain resources unique to your planet, and we request human assistance with projects that would benefit from your particular adaptations. The Secretary General stood. What kind of projects? Construction in high-gravity environments, exploration of dense atmosphere worlds, situations where your natural strength and endurance would be valuable. Alan studied the alien's body language. Something seemed off. While the offer was better than before, he sensed Vexlor was still holding something back. The meeting continued for hours, with Earth's representatives asking questions and the Xylorians providing carefully worded answers. When they finally broke for the day, Alan pulled Kate aside. We need to talk to Trilvex, he said quietly. He's been more honest than the others. They found the Xylorian scientist in a makeshift laboratory that had been set up for him at the UN building. He was examining soil samples, his long fingers moving with surprising dexterity despite the gravity. Dr. Parker, Lieutenant Wilson, he greeted them. Your performance in the competition was remarkable. Thank you, Alan said. We have questions about the new proposal. Trilvex set down his instruments. I suspected you might. Kate leaned against a table. Full membership sounds generous. Why the change? The alien hesitated. I should not say more than Ambassador Vexlor has revealed. But you believe in scientific truth, Alan pressed. What aren't they telling us about why they came to Earth? Trilvex's large eyes blinked slowly. Then he moved to close the door. What I tell you now is not official coalition position. Alan and Kate exchanged glances. This was what they had hoped for. The coalition faces challenges beyond your solar system. Trilvex began. There are others in the galaxy, not part of our alliance. Some are hostile. You're at war? Kate asked. Not yet. But conflict seems inevitable. The coalition has many species, each adapted to different environments, but none are like humans. Alan understood immediately. You need soldiers who can function in high gravity. Trilvex's expression confirmed it. Our forces struggle in conditions even approaching Earth normal. The enemy homeworlds have gravity similar to yours. So this isn't about mining rights, Kate said. It's about military advantage. Both, Trilvex admitted. The resources are valuable, but your physical capabilities are unique. The competition proved what some of us already suspected. Humans are remarkable adapters. As they left the laboratory, Alan and Kate processed this new information. The implications were enormous. Earth wasn't just being invited into an interstellar community. It was being recruited for a potential war. We need to take this to the Security Council, Kate said. They need all the facts before making any decisions. Alan agreed. But something else bothered him. Trilvex mentioned other species in the coalition. I want to meet them. The next morning, they brought their concerns to the Secretary General, who immediately called an emergency session. Ambassador Vexilor was confronted with what they had learned. It is true we face external pressures, the ambassador admitted reluctantly, but we did not wish to burden Earth with such concerns immediately upon contact. Withholding information isn't partnership, the Secretary General responded. Earth needs to know exactly what membership would entail. Vexilor's posture stiffened. Very well. We request a delegation visit our headquarters. See the coalition for yourselves before making your decision. This was exactly what Alan had hoped for. I volunteer to go, he said immediately. Kate stood as well. As do I. Other nations quickly nominated their own representatives. Within hours, an Earth delegation of 12 was approved, with Alan and Kate among them. 3 days later, they boarded a Xylorian shuttle. The interior was designed for comfort in Earth-normal gravity, with seats modified to accommodate human physiology. As they strapped in, Alan looked at Kate. Ready to make history? He asked. She smiled. Ready to make sure humanity isn't just used as the galaxy's muscle. The journey took less than a day, thanks to the Xylorians' advanced propulsion technology. They watched in awe as Earth receded behind them, then disappeared entirely as the ship entered what Trilvex called fold space, their method of faster-than-light travel. When they emerged, they faced a massive space station orbiting a red dwarf star. It resembled a giant wheel, spinning slowly to create artificial gravity in the outer ring. Smaller ships moved around it like bees around a hive. Coalition headquarters, Vexilor announced with obvious pride. Representatives from all 17 member species gather here. The shuttle docked smoothly. As they prepared to disembark, Vexilor addressed the human delegation. The station maintains various gravity levels in different sections. Your quarters are set to Earth normal. Other areas will feel lighter to you. As they floated through the docking tube, Alan realized they were in a zero-gravity zone. The Xylorians moved with practiced ease, while most humans fumbled awkwardly. Kate adapted quickly, using her military training, and helped others navigate. Once through the central hub, they entered a section with light gravity, about 1/3 of Earth's pull. Here, they met their first non-Xylorian aliens. The Ventari were short, stocky beings with thick, leathery skin. They greeted the humans with elaborate hand gestures that Alan guessed were their equivalent of a bow. We watched your competition with great interest, one said through a translation device. Your endurance is legendary already. More species appeared as they toured the station. The insectoid Kulzak, the aquatic Moro, the gaseous Etheri contained, in special suits, each more alien than the last. Some viewed the humans with obvious curiosity, others with what seemed like caution. In a large conference room set to lunar gravity, representatives from all coalition species gathered. The humans were formally introduced, and then the real discussions began. Vexilor outlined the situation facing the coalition. A group of species from the galactic core, collectively called the Dominion, were expanding outward, conquering or displacing other civilizations. They evolved on high-gravity worlds, he explained. Their soldiers can operate in environments that incapacitate our forces. Until now, we had no counter to this advantage. Images appeared showing battles on harsh-looking planets, Coalition forces struggling against armored figures that moved with disturbing speed, despite the obviously crushing gravity. Kate studied the tactical displays with professional interest. Your technologies are superior, but physically you're at a disadvantage. Precisely, a Ventari representative confirmed. We need allies who can fight on equal terms with the Dominion forces. Alan looked around the room, seeing Earth's delegation processing this information. They had come expecting diplomatic discussions about trade and cultural exchange. Instead, they were being asked to join an interstellar conflict. We need time to consider all of this, he said finally. Earth must make its own decision, not be rushed into war. Vexillor nodded. Of course. But know this. Whether Earth joins us or not, the Dominion will eventually reach your world. They seek all habitable planets, especially high-gravity ones that produce strong soldiers. As the meeting ended, Alan realized Earth stood at a crossroads. The stars offered wonders and knowledge beyond imagination, but also dangers they had never considered. Whatever choice they made would shape humanity's future forever, and it all came down to gravity, the force that had shaped human evolution and now made them valuable on a galactic scale. 1 month later, the Earth delegation returned home. Their shuttle descended through blue skies, landing once again at Armstrong Space Center where their journey had begun. Dr. Alan Parker looked out the window at the gathered crowd. News cameras, government officials, and curious citizens had all come to hear what they had learned among the stars. Home, sweet heavy home, Lieutenant Kate Wilson said beside him. After weeks in varying gravity environments, Earth's pull felt reassuringly familiar. As they disembarked, Alan noticed how differently the Xylorians moved now. Ambassador Vexillor and his team had spent the past month training in special chambers that simulated Earth's gravity. Their exoskeletons were more streamlined, and their movements, while still careful, showed growing adaptation. The United Nations had called a special session to hear the delegation's report and vote on Earth's response to the Coalition's offer. Representatives from every nation filled the General Assembly Hall in New York. The entire planet watched as Alan took the podium. What we found beyond our solar system was both wonderful and concerning, he began. The Coalition includes 17 different species, each with their own worlds, cultures, and technologies. Their achievements are remarkable: medical advances that could end disease, energy systems that could solve our climate crisis, faster-than-light travel that could take us to distant stars. He paused, looking across the sea of faces. But they face a grave threat. The Dominion, a group of species from high-gravity worlds like our own, is expanding aggressively throughout the galaxy. Coalition forces cannot effectively fight on Dominion. That is why they came to Earth. They need us. Kate stepped forward to present the military assessment. The Dominion has conquered 12 worlds in the past decade. Their technology lags behind the Coalition's, but their forces can operate in environments that cripple Xylorians and other low-gravity species. They specifically target high-gravity planets like Earth for resources and recruitment. Video played showing Dominion soldiers in action, heavily armored figures moving with frightening speed across harsh landscapes. Their physiology was different from humans, but the adaptation to high gravity was evident in their powerful builds. Our options are clear, Kate continued. Join the Coalition as full members with equal standing, remain neutral and develop our own defenses, or reject galactic involvement entirely. Over the next 3 days, Earth's nations debated intensely. Some feared being drawn into an alien war. Others saw opportunity in the stars. Scientists argued for the knowledge that could be gained, while military leaders worried about Earth's vulnerability. On the 4th day, Ambassador Vexillor addressed the assembly. We did not approach Earth with complete honesty, he admitted. For this, I apologize. Our assessment of humans was incorrect. We saw your gravity as a limitation rather than the source of your strength. His words caused murmurs throughout the Euro Hall. The competition revealed much about human capability, Vexillor continued. Not just your physical strength, but your adaptability. You function in high gravity naturally, yet adjust to other environments quickly. No other species we have encountered possesses this range. Alan listened carefully. The ambassador's tone had changed completely from their first meeting. Gone was the condescension, replaced by genuine respect. Whatever Earth decides, Vexlor concluded, know that you have earned the Coalition's respect. We offer partnership, not dominance. That evening, Alan met with Kate and other delegation members in a quiet conference room away from the public eye. They need us more than we need them, said General Steve Harris, the military representative. We could negotiate better terms. But can we afford to stay isolated? Dr. Olivia Grant countered. The Dominion will reach us eventually. Better to have allies. Alan had been quiet, thinking about everything they had seen at Coalition headquarters. Finally, he spoke. What impressed me most wasn't their technology. It was how different species worked together despite their differences. Beings that breathed different atmospheres, evolved on different worlds with different biologies, all cooperating. Kate nodded. Earth has never achieved that level of unity, even among our own species. Perhaps that's what we bring to the galaxy, Alan suggested. Not just our strength from high gravity, but our diversity of cultures, perspectives, and ideas. The next morning, Earth's vote was held. The decision was not unanimous, but the majority was clear. Earth would join the Galactic Coalition as a full member, with conditions protecting its sovereignty and ensuring equal standing. 6 months later, the first official human embassy opened on Coalition headquarters. Alan had been appointed Earth's ambassador, with Kate serving as military attaché. They had brought a team of Earth's best scientists, diplomats, and soldiers. Their first major contribution was the development of a gravity adaptation program. Human trainers worked with Coalition forces, teaching techniques developed on Earth for functioning in different gravitational environments. What came naturally to humans through their evolution on a high-gravity world became valuable knowledge for species that had never faced such challenges. In return, Coalition scientists shared medical technologies that could extend human lifespan and cure previously fatal diseases. Engineers provided clean energy systems that would eventually end Earth's dependence on fossil fuels. The exchange of knowledge flowed in both directions, benefiting all. 1 year after first contact, Alan stood in the observation dome of Earth's new space station. Built with Coalition technology but staffed primarily by humans, it served as the gateway between Earth and the stars. From this vantage point, he could see his home planet below, beautiful and blue. Kate joined him, now wearing the uniform of the newly formed Earth Defense Force. The first Dominion scout ship was detected at the edge of Coalition space, she informed him. The confrontation we prepared for is coming. Alan nodded. Are we ready? More ready than we would have been alone, Kate replied. The Coalition fleet now includes 5 Earth ships. Our troops are training Coalition forces in high-gravity combat techniques, and they're learning from us about adaptability. That's what saved us, isn't it? Alan mused. Not just our strength from growing up in high gravity, but our ability to adapt to new situations. Kate smiled. The Xylorians thought Earth's gravity was our weakness. They never understood that challenge creates strength. As they watched Earth turn below them, a mixed group of human and alien scientists entered the dome. They were working on a new project, gravity manipulation technology that could help all species operate in any environment. The research team included humans, Silurians, Ventari, and even a former Dominion scientist who had defected. That's humanity's real contribution to the galaxy, Alan said, gesturing toward the diverse group. We bring everyone together, finding strength in our differences rather than division. The gravity that had shaped human evolution had ultimately shaped their place among the stars. What aliens had once seen as a limitation had proven to be humanity's greatest advantage. The heavy world that built not just strong bodies, but adaptable minds and resilient spirits ready to face whatever the universe held. Earth's gravity had prepared humanity for the stars in ways no one could have imagined.